How are you? It's the most common question in America. And 9 times out of 10, you already know the answer before they speak. I'm fine, but here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Americans are lying. A lot. And we're better at it than anyone else on the planet. This isn't just a casual observation. There's actual data behind it. Cross-cultural psychologists have studied emotional suppression across dozens of countries, and America ranks near the top for pretending to be okay when we're absolutely not. We've turned emotional dishonesty into a social skill. In Japan, there's a cultural concept called Han and Tate Mei, your true feelings versus your public performance. But in America, we don't even have separate words for it. We just call it being professional or keeping it together. The performance has become the only reality. The roots of this go deep into American history. The Puritan work ethic taught that suffering in silence was a virtue. The frontier mentality said you handle your own problems. The pull yourself up by your bootstraps myth says asking for help is weakness. 300 years of training to hide the pain. Here's the psychological mechanism: cognitive dissonance. We feel sad, but we say, I'm fine. The brain hates inconsistency. So to resolve the conflict, the brain actually starts to believe the lie. We don't just pretend to be fine. We convince ourselves we are fine. That's the dangerous part. Compare this to other cultures. In many Latin American countries, emotional expression is expected and welcomed. In Germany, directness is considered respectful. They say what they mean. But in America, we've commodified happiness. We treat sadness like a product defect, something to be fixed or hidden. The pressure starts early. American children are told don't cry more than almost any other culture. Boys are taught that sadness is weakness. Girls are taught that anger is unattractive. By the time we're adults, we don't know how to feel anything except the approved emotions. Social media made everything worse. Now we have proof of everyone else's perfect life. Vacations, promotions, happy families, fitness transformations. We compare our real, messy, painful internal reality to everyone else's curated highlight reel. And we come up short every single time. The term for this is social comparison theory. We determine our own worth by comparing ourselves to others. But when everyone is only showing their best moments, the comparison is rigged from the start. We're playing a game where everyone else is cheating and we don't even know it. Then there's the workplace. American corporate culture has perfected emotional suppression. The customer service voice. The performance review smile. The I'm fine when your boss asks how you're doing with a project that's 3 weeks behind. We are paid to pretend. Healthcare adds another layer. Americans pay more for therapy than almost any other developed nation. And even when we can afford it, there's a stigma. In many other countries, seeing a therapist is normal. In America, coworkers might wonder if you're stable. The system punishes honesty. Let's talk about toxic positivity. It's the belief that no matter how bad things are, you should always look on the bright side. Good vibes only. Choose happiness. It could be worse. These phrases aren't helpful. They're emotional gaslighting. They tell people their pain isn't valid. Research from UCLA shows that suppressing emotions doesn't just hurt mentally. It hurts physically. Chronic emotional suppression increases inflammation, raises blood pressure, weakens the immune system, and is linked to higher rates of heart disease. The "I'm fine" lie is literally killing us. There's a paradox here. Americans are also the most likely to pay for life coaches, motivational speakers, and self-help books. We're obsessed with fixing ourselves, but we refuse to admit we're broken in the first place. How can you fix something you won't acknowledge is broken? The Southern United States has an even more specific version. Bless your heart. It sounds sweet, but every Southerner knows it's a weapon. You can say the most passive-aggressive insult imaginable, wrap it in sugar, and walk away smiling. It's lying with a drawl. Midwest niceness is another flavor of the same lie. In states like Minnesota or Iowa, confrontation is avoided at all costs. You don't say something is bad. You say it's different. You don't say you're angry. You say you're tired. The result is a culture where nobody knows what anyone actually feels. The West Coast has its own version, spiritual bypassing. using meditation, yoga, or positive energy to avoid dealing with real problems. You're not sad. You're just processing. You're not angry. You're just holding space. It's pretending with better vocabulary. So why do we do it? The short answer is safety. Being honest about your struggles makes you vulnerable. And in a culture that values strength above almost everything else, vulnerability feels like walking into a battlefield unarmed. We lie to protect ourselves. There's also the efficiency factor. America is a productivity-obsessed culture. We measure time in dollars. And admitting you're struggling takes time. Time for conversation. Time for help. Time for healing. We tell ourselves we don't have time to not be fine. The rise of remote work after COVID made emotional isolation worse. Before, at least you had coworkers who might notice you were off. Now, you're alone in your apartment, staring at a Zoom grid of frozen, smiling faces. You can cry between meetings, and nobody knows. There's a specific demographic that suffers most: middle-aged men. American men are trained from birth to suppress sadness and fear. The only acceptable emotion is anger. So sadness becomes anger. Fear becomes anger. Loneliness becomes anger. And anger destroys relationships, which creates more sadness. A perfect, devastating loop. The statistics are brutal. American men die by suicide at nearly 4 times the rate of American women. And the gap widens after age 65. A lifetime of "I'm fine" leads to a lonely end. And somehow, we still don't connect the dots between the lie and the loss. Women face a different pressure. The expectation to be everything for everyone. The supermom, the career woman, the perfect partner. Admitting you're struggling means admitting you're failing at a role you were told you could handle. And the weight of that expectation is crushing. The "I'm fine" lie is also a class issue. Wealthy Americans can afford to be honest. They have therapists, support groups, and vacation days. Working-class Americans cannot. If a factory worker admits they're struggling with depression, they might lose their job. Honesty is a luxury good. What about immigrant communities? The pressure is even higher. Many first-generation Americans feel they can't complain because their parents sacrificed everything for them to be here. We struggled so you could have a better life. Why are you sad? The guilt of gratitude shuts down honesty. The irony is that honesty is actually more attractive. Research shows that people who share genuine vulnerability are rated as more likable and trustworthy. But we're so afraid of being the first to be honest that we stay trapped in a prison of our own politeness. Social media influencers have made this worse. The hustle culture gurus preach that you should wake up at 4 a.m., cold plunge, journal, meditate, work out, and answer emails before breakfast. If you're sad, you're just not grinding hard enough. It's victim blaming disguised as motivation. There's hope, though. The youngest generation, Gen Z, is actually rejecting the "I'm fine" lie. They're more likely to discuss mental health openly, take therapy days, and set emotional boundaries. They're not always polite about it, but they're honest, and that's real progress. Workplaces are slowly changing too. Some companies now offer mental health days separate from sick days. Managers are being trained to ask, "How are you actually doing?" instead of the robotic "How are you?" The culture is bending, but it hasn't broken yet. Finland is often ranked the happiest country in the world. But here's the secret. Finns don't pretend to be happy. They have realistic expectations. They accept that life includes struggle. They have strong social safety nets. Happiness isn't a performance in Finland. It's a byproduct of honesty. What would it take for America to change? First, we need to stop treating therapy as a last resort. It should be as normal as going to the gym. You don't wait until you break a bone to exercise. Why wait until a breakdown to take care of your mind? Second, we need to change how we greet each other. "How are you?" should not be a rhetorical question. If you ask it, wait for the answer. If you don't want the answer, don't ask the question. Honesty starts with the first syllable. Third, we need to lead by example. Parents, tell your kids when you're having a hard day. Bosses, admit when you're overwhelmed. Friends, share the ugly parts. Vulnerability is contagious, and honesty spreads faster than pretending once someone starts. The "I'm fine" lie has a cousin. It is what it is. This phrase is the white flag of emotional surrender. It means I've stopped trying to change the situation, and I've also stopped feeling anything about it. It's the final stage of the lie, not just pretending to be fine, but convincing yourself you don't care. Here's a psychological trick to break the cycle. Name the emotion out loud. Literally say, "I am sad right now," or "I am angry." Studies show that labeling an emotion reduces its intensity by activating the thinking part of your brain. Naming it tames it. Another trick, find your emotional exhale. One person you can be completely honest with. No filter. No performance. If you don't have that person, seek out a counselor or trusted community member. The effort is worth it. Loneliness is more damaging than the temporary discomfort of being honest. The solution isn't to complain constantly. Nobody wants to be around someone who only dumps negativity. The solution is accuracy. Sometimes you are fine. Sometimes you're not. The goal isn't happiness. The goal is honesty. Let the emotion match the reality. Think about the last time someone actually told you the truth when you asked how they were. Remember how it felt? A little awkward at first, but then closer, more human. That's the reward we're missing by always saying, "I'm fine." Connection. Real, imperfect human connection. The "I'm fine" lie is a habit, and habits can be broken. Start small. Next time someone asks, say, "Actually, I've been better," or "Honestly, it's been a rough week." You don't have to dump your whole life story. Just be slightly more honest than you were yesterday. Here's what happens when you stop lying. People surprise you. Most people are craving honesty too. They've been stuck in the same performance prison. When you break out, you give them permission to break out too. Honesty is a gift you give to yourself and everyone around you. There will be people who don't like the honest you. Some friends only wanted the performing version. Some family members are uncomfortable with real emotions. That's okay. Let them be uncomfortable. You're not responsible for managing other people's emotional comfort. You're responsible for your own truth. The research on emotional granularity shows that people who have precise words for their feelings recover from stress faster. Not just sad, disappointed, or lonely, or fatigued. The more specific you are, the more power you have over the emotion. Language is a tool. Use it. What about the phrase, "I'm fine" in other languages? In Spanish, "estoy bien" is rarely used as a lie. It usually means what it says. In Arabic, "alhamdulillah," praise be to God, is often a genuine expression of contentment, not a performance. The American "I'm fine" is unique in its automatic, meaningless cheerfulness. The path forward is simple but not easy. Stop asking, "How are you?" unless you mean it. Stop answering, "I'm fine," unless it's true. Break the script. Create a new one. It will feel awkward for a while. Awkward is the price of authentic. Pay it. Imagine a culture where "I'm not okay" is met with "tell me more" instead of "what's wrong." Where sadness isn't a problem to solve, but a signal to listen. So here's the final truth. You are not fine. Not all the time. And that's not a failure. That's being human. America has spent hundreds of years teaching you to hide. But hiding is exhausting. Put down the mask. Take a breath. And the next time someone asks how you are, try something radical. Try the truth.